Folks, thanks for coming out tonight. My name is Oliver Bergeron. I'm the owner of CI Destinations and am thrilled to be working with my friends in Virginia and talking about Tuscany tonight. And it's been a little over, about 18 months now that we've known each other, Amy? Yep. And the first trip the Chamber did was to the French Riviera. And what CI Destinations does, what we're all about is helping chambers around this great United States take travelers to wonderful parts of the world. And what I love is after years of working with chambers, of looking back at where we've been together. And a few years down the road, we'll look back and we'll think, gosh, we've seen like some good parts of the world. And it all started with that French Riviera program. Now, CI Destination stands for Chamber International Destinations. We only work with chambers of commerce. And my name is Oliver Bergeron. I'm the owner of CI Destinations and have been working with chambers in Virginia for over 15 years. And what I love about my Virginia chambers is what a tight network of folks they are. And I've gotten to make some wonderful friends out in the beautiful state of Virginia. But tonight we're talking about Tuscany. I could go on about Virginia forever, but tonight we're going to focus in on Tuscany, which departs October 16th, 2026. Folks, we get to unpack one time and stay in the magical town of Montecatini Terme. And some things that make CI Destinations special is the hotels we choose. You know, we always stay in great 4-star properties that are city center. I mean, when you're right in the heart of Montecatini, you're right across the street from the Central Park. And now that Amy's been on one of our trips, she knows how important it is to make sure you've got great hotels in great locations. Another thing that makes this program special is it is fully tour managed. And what that means, it means the minute you land in Florence, you're going to be met by your CI Destinations tour manager, and she's going to be with you for the entire duration of the trip. That is huge. That really blows the quality of your experience through the roof. Because she's going to be with you through every day. And my goal for our tour managers, I say it all the time, is I want them on your Christmas card mailing list by the third day of the trip. They are there for you. They're there to breathe life into this brochure and not only act as your tour guide, but as your own personal concierge as you're taking in the best that Tuscany has to offer. And the difference from a tour guide to a tour manager is night and day. Let's say you're in Florence and you have a city tour of Florence and you have a local guide, and that guide's going to be with you from like 10 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. After 4 o'clock, you're never going to see him again. His commitment to you may not always be the best. Now, a tour manager that we work with season after season, year after year, they truly are there for you and to make sure that you just have an amazing experience. I think one of the most important things about our tour managers is they're people, and they recognize that you may be going to Tuscany once in your life. Let's make this the trip to remember. And that's tour management. And it's so important to make sure that you've got the same person with you every day. I can talk about it forever because our tour managers, they make the trips. Of course, we've included flights going from Dulles. Now we're flying into Florence. Florence is a regional airport like Richmond or Roanoke, and it does not accept the over-the-pond flight. So we'll have a change of planes somewhere along the way, usually in Paris or Amsterdam, maybe Munich. And from those points, then we'll jump over to Florence. But we'll only have one change of planes. And my goal is I like to get our travelers in on the earlier side. So you're able to have like a little orientation tour of Montecatini, relax, get settled in, go shopping. And I'll talk about that down the road. Here's a shot of one of our tour managers and our drivers. Our motor coaches are typically 3 to 4 years old or newer. And to keep the quality high and your experience high, I love this, that we've included what we call the Whisper system. Now, this is a wireless headset This allows you to hear your tour manager from up to 250 feet away. So you do not have to huddle around your tour manager like an under 8 soccer team, saying, what did she say? What am I missing? What am I supposed to be looking at? That scenario is in the past. And the whisper system, it elevates your experience to a new high. Our typical size of our coach is somewhere between the 30 to 40 travelers. We always have a few extra seats on the coach. We never like to fill the coaches. But here's a shot of one of our groups getting ready to take off from Montecatini as they make their way over to San Gimignano. So when we land in Florence, we're going to go to the baggage claim, we're going to collect our luggage. Then we're going to go to the arrivals hall where we're going to meet our tour manager. And we're going to board that deluxe coach and we're going to make our way to Montecatini Terme. Montecatini Terme is a resort spa town, just about 45 minutes west of Florence. A great, great place to call home and truly give yourself an opportunity to really experience Tuscany. Where are we staying? So I mentioned hotels. We're staying at the Grand Hotel Tituccio. And this is a great property that we use season after season, year after year. Great four-star hotel, city center, right in the center of Montecatini Terme. And I always like to include a few shots of the public areas, the dining room. So every morning, we're going to have a hot buffet breakfast. And the buffet breakfast usually starts right around 7. The tours, they start right around 9 o'clock. And what I like to do, stroll out of bed, get there early, have an early breakfast, and then take a stroll through Montecatini. I'm going to show you one of my favorite shots coming up. This is the breakfast room. This is right off the breakfast room. So when I say you are in the heart of Montecatini, you are there. You never have to worry about taking a taxi or an Uber to get to the city center. You are in the city center of Montecatini. Montecatini is known for its thermal spas. They say the waters in these spas, they have a holistic capabilities. Now, these spas are amazing. Whether you take a spa treatment or not, you've got to walk the grounds. And these were created in the 13th and 14th centuries. These columns, as you see here, honest to goodness, they are as smooth as the screen you're looking at tonight. 13th, 14th century, the things that were constructed were amazing. They had chisels and ropes and hammers and pulleys and horses. The things they constructed are absolutely mind-blowing. This is the Tituccio Spa. This is the oldest spa in Tuscany in Central Park. Their Central Park is about maybe 3/4 of a square mile. And you've got to walk the grounds of Central Park and the Tituccio Spa at least once. But this is right across the street from our hotel. That is so nice for you to know that you truly are in the city center. Coming off of the French Riviera program, you know how important that is because you guys stayed at the Eden Hotel. And that was a great city center property, just like the Tituccio. All right, so now let's hit the ground running. So on our first day touring, we're going to take in Florence. And honestly, millions of people, they descend upon Florence annually. We're actually going to go up to the hilltop where this picture was taken. We'll get an opportunity to take our own picture from this same vantage point. Now, I say we do Florence early in the itinerary. That is not an accident. It's not a coincidence. If you were to do Florence, say on the last day of your trip, you're going to be coaching back to Montecatini going, gosh, I wish we had more time here. Well, if you look at the itinerary, you'll notice on day 8 is devoted to our travelers for you guys to do what you want to do. And there will be people that will say, okay, I'm going to take a spa on that day. I'm going to go take the train back to Florence. The train is only 25 meters from our hotel, runs nonstop every half hour to and from Florence to Montecatini. But anyways, that's my point is when I put the program together, I don't just pick days sporadically. It's so nice to do Florence early in the itinerary. And you're going to notice that the beauty of Brunicelli's dome, as you see here, when you're walking the streets of Florence, it dominates the skyline from almost any vantage point. Now, this is going to be a gem. So here's the outside. You can actually see there's a little walkway out here by the Duomo. When we go inside, there's a staircase that wraps the walls of the Duomo, and it's going to get us to about 30 feet of these amazing frescoes. And that's the beauty of having a fully tour managed program and making sure the program has the perfect balance of structured tours and leisure time. You know, you're in Florence, you want to soak it all up, but you also want to have some liberating free time. And that's what we do. We always have the city tours in the morning, then we have afternoon, we have some downtime where your tour manager will give you some guidance on restaurants for lunch if you're looking for the special steak Florentine or lasagna, whatever it may be. She's going to give you the guidance. And you're going to notice that our tour managers are in sync with the restaurants. They're going to say, if you see a restaurant that has English, you may want to avoid that. You may want to just go do what I do. I go to a restaurant first, I make sure it's busy. And then I'll walk around it and I'll smell and I'll look. I'm like, okay, I want that. I want what he's having. And it just looks delectable. That's the kind of menu I like. Here we are outside the Duomo. And we're actually going to be going into the cathedral, as I mentioned over here. But when my group was there just 2 weeks ago, I called up Alice, one of our tour managers, and I said, Alice, how was the tour in Florence today? She goes, the travelers loved it all over. She goes, I'm telling the travelers we're outside the cathedral, and I'm telling them, this is where Michelangelo's buried, giving them all the history. And she goes, and I looked over and our tour managers, they know a lot of guides. And she looked over, she saw a guide, and she goes, I was kind of disgusted because I saw this guide and he said, okay, this is a great photo opportunity. We have 5 minutes. Let's take some pictures and then be moving on. And she said, he didn't even tell him the history of the church. He didn't tell him, hey, did you know Michelangelo's buried here? Now, could you imagine you're at home, you're watching Rick Steves, you've just done that type of tour, and you learn from your living room where Michelangelo's buried? I call that a travel regret. So with CI Destinations, I make sure we don't have any travel regrets, that we actually learn and are immersed in the culture. And here we are adjacent to the cathedral is Giotto's bell tower. And this was built in 1334. Okay. The attention to detail is absolutely amazing. And they say, it's 85 meters high. I think it's 415 some odd steps that take you to the top, but it'll give you the highest vantage point of the city of Florence below. So we're still in Florence. Now we are in the dead center of Florence, and we're going to take in the north doors of the baptistry. The north doors are important because these gilded gold doors, jump back, these gilded gold doors, these scenes depict the life of Christ. And if you're doing this on your own, you may not even know this exists. You may just walk right past it. That's the beauty of having a fully tour managed experience. Now, Florence, this is what if you want to purchase leather goods anywhere in Italy, you want to do it in Florence. And this is what they call the San Lorenzo market. Some great dining times, great restaurants, but also amazing leather goods. So if you're looking for the perfect pair of boots or jacket, purse, wallet, whatever it may be, this is where you want to go. And I'm not a huge shopper by any means, but the free time in the San Lorenzo district is always a good time. I love this shot. Okay, this is taken like 3 weeks ago. No, this was October 14th was the departure, so probably around the 15th or 16th, about a month ago. That gives you a good idea of the weather you can expect. You know, you Levi's, Dockers, knit shirts, light button-down shirts, maybe a light sweatshirt or sweater, light jacket for the evenings. But you should be in the high 60s, low 70s, perfect traveling time. And it was funny. I'm going to tell a little story about Amy here because I had a couple different departures. I had an October 22nd departure and I had an October 14th departure. And she said, I don't want those. I want an October 6th departure. Remember that? Yep. So sure enough,
The
we've got
earlier,
an
the better.
we've got that October 6th departure. And that's what I love about working with my friends in Virginia. They truly look out for their travelers. Amy goes on the trips with the travelers, shares the experience, and not every chamber does that. So good shot of the group and the weather. We're still in Florence, and now we're in the Ponte Vecchio Bridge. And the Ponte Vecchio Bridge spans the banks of the Arno River. So originally, the Ponte Vecchio Bridge would house, the fish markets, the butcher shops, the flower markets, and when those would go sour or south, everything was thrown into the river. Nowadays, the Ponte Vecchio Bridge has the goldsmith shops, the silversmith shops, the Yadros. It's like the little Beverly Hills of Florence. So then the next morning, we'll wake up, but I'm going to jump back here. So we're going to bid farewell to Florence. We're going to spend half the day touring, half the day on our own. Then right around 5 or 6, we're going to head back to our hotel, and we'll have an evening in Montecatini. Some travelers, usually about 10 or 20%, they have fallen in love with Florence now. So they're like, I think I want to stay here and have dinner. Some travelers will stay here to have dinner. Alice, the tour manager, will give them some guidance of some great restaurants. I can give you some phenomenal restaurants, and then take the train back from Florence to Montecatini. I mean, it's maybe 20 euros. It runs every half hour. It's beautiful. It's quick. And now you're getting to do what you want to do when you want to do it. That's my goal for our travelers. I want you guys to have an amazing experience to where you get to do what you want to do when you want to do it. The next morning, we're going to wake up, enjoy breakfast. We're going to go to one of the smallest walled cities in Italy. It's only 12 miles away. And that walled city is Lucca. You'll see the outdoor cafes. You can actually ride a bike on top of the wall, that circumference of the city, if you like. The biggest industry in Lucca is olive oil and dessert wine. So the olive oil in Tuscany, it's delectable. And here's their main cathedral, as you see here. This is only about 12 miles away from our hotel. So we'll spend 15 minutes on the coach before we arrive in Lucca, spend some time in Lucca, have time for lunch, and then we're going to head over to Pisa. And Pisa is another 15 miles or so away from Lucca. My point with the mileage is the beauty of Tuscany is everything is so close in proximity to each other. You're not on the coach all day to get to spend a few hours at your destination. It's just the opposite. You're on the coach a short while to get to spend the majority of your time at your destinations. So they say the Leaning Tower is 14 feet off from the center. And Pisa it's amazing. And I had a traveler go there with one of my chambers. I think it was with the Danville, Pennsylvania County Chamber. And he went to Pisa with us. He said he called me up when he got home. He's like, Oliver, I'd been to Pisa 3 times. I wasn't too excited about going to Pisa this time, but we went, and he goes, I learned more from our tour manager about Pisa than I had in all my other three experiences combined. And that's the beauty of tour management. Now, Pisa is a gem. I'm going to jump through these real quick just to give you an idea how close in proximity to these gems are. These would take over 100 years to construct. So between the 13th and 14th century, you could have a grandfather, a father, and a son all working on the same project, probably with the same tools, and never getting to see the project come to fruition. But this is what they refer to as the Parade of Miracles. And here we are at the baptistry here. This is all within 3/4 of a square mile of each other. So you could imagine the hustle and bustle in the 13th and 14th centuries when these were being constructed. So back to the baptistry. We've included admissions into the baptistry. This is important because I want the travelers to know that I recognize the biggest commodity in this trip. It's your time. And so when we can, we purchase the admission tickets in advance simply because I would hate for you to wait in line with 100 or 200 people to purchase a silly admission ticket to go into the baptistry when that could be done months in advance. And in fact, is done months in advance. And they say the 12 steps represent 12 steps entering the entrance here represent the 12 disciples. This is all in Pisa. And then we'll have some time for lunch. And I always invite my chamber friends and travelers to send me pictures. I can incorporate them into my presentations. This gal, her name is Joan. I'm not going to tell you what chamber she's from, but she said, Oliver, here we are having lunch. And I gotta tell you, every time I see this picture, I laugh because there is absolutely no food on the table. I see a couple of bottles of wine. I'm sure the food's coming, but this her caption was Oliver, we're having lunch. One of the things I love, and you've heard me say it before, is we start off in a room like this. Not everybody knows everybody, but by the end of the trip, and usually well before the end of the trip, we are one big happy Culpeper chamber family, and we're experiencing wonderful parts of the world together. Okay, so the next day we're gonna get up, enjoy breakfast. We're gonna head to Siena, and Siena was really designed to blend into its environment, as you see here. It was built around the main square as well as the bell tower. We are in the heart of the Chianti region, and here we are at the Plaza Vecchio. Beautiful part, the central part of Siena. And every 4th of July, not 4th of July, but every July, they have the famous Palio horse race. It's a bareback horse race where they bring in enough dirt, maybe about 4 or 5 inches, about the size of my phone here, to make a little track. And it's a bareback track. And you have to have 5 generations of your family's genealogy has to be coming from the villages of Siena just in order to be considered to be a participant. So their heritage is very, very rich. I like this shot because these two guys are doing great right here. But you gotta wonder what happened to this poor guy over here because he didn't make the turn. Still in Siena, we're going to take in the Cathedral of Santa Maria Santa, one of my all-time favorite cathedrals in Europe. Absolutely amazing. And the majority of the marble actually came from the Carrara marble fields. The same marble that Michelangelo's David came from. Okay, so we've got the cathedral, but now we got to stop and experience the culture. Okay, so my favorite is going to be the pistachio almond, and I will have pistachio almond gelato in every city, and you do the same. You're going to find that They all taste amazing. They're all different because they're all homemade. And it just speaks to how proud they are of their family's tradition. These are all homemade. You'll never see a Baskin Robbins truck pull up with a guy with a dolly and a 5 gallon barrel of ice cream. This is all homemade. And I like this shot because it speaks to the pace of the program. Um, we're in Siena, and when I did this trip for the first time years ago, many years ago, I did Siena and San Gimignano in a day. You can do that, okay, but you will feel rushed. You will not get to have that gelato experience, and you'll feel like you're missing out because Siena and San Gimignano, they're only 15 miles apart, but to do them both in the same day, the quality just goes down. So that's why we dedicate a full day to Siena and a full day to San Gimignano. So now the next day, I believe we are on day 6. It's going too fast. These tours usually do. So we're on day 6. Okay, so today is a free day. And that means you have the option of sleeping in, taking in a spa treatment, maybe go back, do some shopping in Florence, take a spa, or this is pretty cool, go to Cinque Terre. So Cinque Terre is the 5 lands of Italy on the water, and it's only accessible by boat or by train. So we're going to take the motor coach to the train station, and then we'll be taking the train to Cinque Terre. And absolutely breathtaking. And the beauty of having it taken care of, all the details taken care of, so you can fully enjoy your experience, is one of my goals. And I love it. I hear this all the time from travelers. Geez, Oliver, everything you said happened. All I had to do was really pack my bag and make sure I made it to the airport on time. When we landed, I didn't have to think about anything else because those details, they were sorted out months before you guys even got there. Because I've already got the program all taken out. So you seriously get to sit back, enjoy, and never have to worry about what's happening next. And that way you get to fully enjoy Cinque Terre. So I met a local fisherman there on my last trip, and he's like, gosh, we were talking a little bit. They speak pretty broken English, but enough where you can, if you're gracious and you try to butcher the Italian language, they'll stop you and they'll say, no, English, no problem. Stop murdering my language. And I was talking to a fisherman. He said, gosh, you look busy. You need to slow down. He goes, and I said, I asked him what brought him to Cinque Terre. He's been living there for years. He said, well, because in Cinque Terre, I can enjoy every day and not worry about tomorrow because tomorrow's going to sort itself out. And I thought, oh my God, that was like wide eye opening for me because I'm thinking, I need to make sure I can do that once a month. Just relax, enjoy what we're doing, and not worry about tomorrow. So when he said that, it's like a light bulb went off, and I thought, oh, that's what I want my travelers to do. I want them to be able to relax, never have to worry about tomorrow because it's already taken care of. The main industries, and this is why I want to live in Cinque Terre, dessert wines and fishing. So every day of their Tuscan adventure is entirely different from the day before. Oh, another gem of a day. So today we're going to wake up, have that nice breakfast. We're going to go down the same road we went towards Siena, but we're going to hang left and hit San Gimignano. San Gimignano, like I said, is only 15 minutes away from Siena, but doing them on their both separate days allows you to really have the perfect balance of structured tours and leisure time. Now, San Gimignano is known as the hilltop town of towers. And I think there's less than a half a dozen towers remaining these days. Originally, there were over 20. And today, the highest tower, and it's not a joke, it's the San Gimignano Chamber of Commerce. And some 280 some odd steps will take you to the top. There's a Chamber of Commerce flag out there right in the front. It's like a visitor center and it's open to the public and you can go all the way to the top. Now, if you go to the top, you're going to see the most spectacular views of the Chianti region. And the hilltop town of Towers opens up into this walled city. And here you've got, I love this shot because it's taken in October, it gives you a good idea of the weather. But all the walled cities are built around their main wells or cisterns, as you see here. And in this shot, and I think it was the 12th century, the ATMs weren't around, but the ATMs are widely accessible. So you never have to worry about money. And that's something we also talk about at the departure party. So we're going to bid farewell to San Gimignano. Okay, we aren't going back to Montecatini just yet. We are in the Chianti region, okay? So we're going to drive through, get off that local highway, make our way through some of the most beautiful vineyards in the Chianti region. And we're going to go to the Poggio Allora Vineyard. It's a family-owned vineyard. We're actually going to meet the owner of the vineyard, and we're going to get to enjoy an Italian wine tasting with charcuterie. It's a great, great afternoon, and always a great highlight. Look at this shot. Yeah, this is one of our groups. But it's a great, great experience where all the details are taken care of for you. So on our last night, we're going to have a farewell dinner with entertainment and dancing. This is a great night. Our travelers are going to get together. They're going to share different highlights. All the highlights are going to be entirely different. But it's amazing to see how it's becoming just a Culpeper Chamber family now. And the experience we shared. And I love the farewell dinners. They always bring the group together at the end before we said bid farewell. Here's one of our groups. And the next morning, we'll make our way back to Florence, where we'll be flying back. We do offer a 2-night extension to Rome, which works beautifully. We go down to from Montecatini down to Rome with the same tour manager, and we stay in a great 4-star city center hotel. And on arrival in the afternoon, we usually get to Rome around noonish, so we have a full afternoon dedicated to a comprehensive Rome city tour, taking in all the highlights such as the Colosseum, just one of the many amazing fountains. Of course, the Roman Forum gives you a good taste of all the antiquity that Rome brings to the table. And of course, we'll get to see Trevi Fountain. And the next day is the day at our leisure. We will have travelers that will want to say, oh gosh, can we do the Vatican and Sistine Chapel? We actually offer an optional tour to the Vatican and Sistine Chapel. And we do it because we get to skip the line. Because the line is horrendous. I mean, 500 people long, no problem. And we always skip the line. And that just lets you take advantage of your time. And that in a nutshell is, Tuscany departing in March 6th, returning, or not March 6th, October 6th, returning October 14th. And how do we register for this trip? So on the back of the brochure, there's a registration form. And you simply complete that, with your name, your birth date, and whatnot. Make that, give that over to Amy at the chamber, and along with your deposit check of $450 per person, and she'll send it on to us, and we'll send you out a confirmation packet, welcoming you to the trip with frequently asked questions, passport information, travel insurance information, and then the direction if you have any questions or needs, a contact person. But it's not an accident. If you look on the bottom right page of the brochure, if I can hold it up, there's an 800 number. Well, that rings to my desk. So you guys can always give me a call. Let's get out of this one. Let's jump back to that one. Does anybody have any questions for me?
While you're thinking of your questions, I will jump in to say that Oliver speaks a lot about his tour managers and also about the balance between guided tours and free time. And I can't state that enough. I mean, I did this informational call before we went to the French Riviera, and we just traveled to the French Riviera October 1st. So we got back mid-October. And Anka was our tour guide. She was amazing. I don't even have all of the nice words to say about her. She genuinely cared about us. She knew so much history. She taught us so much. She was just an amazing resource to us. If we had a question, if she didn't know the answer, she was on the phone in French figuring out the answer to any question that we might have. She was thoughtful of, we were 22 women and only three men on that group, but she was mindful and thoughtful of like bathroom breaks and where we could use the restroom. And she just, I mean, from start to finish, she was awesome. And we did so much and we saw so much. And yet it was, like Oliver said, such a great pace of, we do a walking and educational tour, and then we'd have free time to the people who wanted to shop could shop, the people who wanted to sit and eat gelato could do that, the people who wanted to eat lunch. So kind of everybody broke into groups. We did have a lot of time to get to know each other and spend time together. But yeah, it's thoughtful. It's very thoughtful planning. Oliver does an amazing job, and I can't say that enough. I knew that the French Riviera trip was going to be amazing, but all of my expectations were blown once we landed in France. So I don't have enough nice things to say. Yeah. Donna.
Wow,
Donna was on the trip.
Yes, we love Anka.
Yeah, she was the best.
Yes.
And that's pretty common with all our trips. It's the tour managers. They make it.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons we don't do the world. We do about 12 destinations or so. But this could be you guys in October.
And this is a Virginia group.
Mm-hmm.
So I recognize Sharon in the front.
Yes. Shannon, from Shenandoah.
Yep.
Yep.
Karen, did you have a question, Karen?
Yes. Can you hear me? Because I'm on my tablet, so I can't really type.
We can hear you.
How do we get the brochure? Did I miss something?
No, but we can get it emailed over to you. We have it on the website, but it looks like I have your email because you registered from this. So we'll get that sent right over to you, Karen.
All right, thank you.
And I'll see if I can't drop it in the chat as well.
Amy, can you email me one as well?
Absolutely. I'll send
Thanks.
out this recording as well as the registration to all of you who attended today.
Thank you.
Yeah, you'll have to tell Sharon you just saw her.
I know.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
It's Bob Stockman. So make sure I get that email, Amy, please.
Hi, Bob. Yes, I will make sure you get it.
Yeah, this sounds great. I was a little late getting on. But yeah, it was a great time in the French Riviera. Everything was perfect.
Glad to hear it. Thank you.
And more men the next time.
Yes. Recruit your male friends, Bob. At least you didn't have to wait in lines for the bathroom.
You're right.
All right. Well, if
If
you
when
guys
we get
have
off
any
this call-
questions,
Oh,
what's that?
I was going to say, if when we get off this call, a question comes to you, don't hesitate to reach out to myself and or Oliver.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great evening.
Thanks.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you,
You're
Oliver.
welcome.